What is going on, my dudes? Guess what? Today's gonna be a really cool day because I'm gonna be talking to my friend, and he's got a 2017 MV Agusta 800 RR, which I'm really looking forward to checking out and reviewing for you guys. So right now we're headed over to his place, see what makes it special for him and why he chose the bike. All right, looks like we're almost there. Hello. Thank you for having me today, and thank you for inviting me along.
Welcome to the ranch.
Thank you so much. You got a beautiful place, and you've got a gorgeous bike. So, what do you like about your bike?
No, it's taken me a long time to find a bike that really fits me ergonomically well, so I can firmly get my feet on the ground, which is kind of nice. Surprisingly, it's a short, compact, upright bike. My last bike, the Ducati 900 Super Sport, was much more aggressive forward, and this one I can sit up pretty well. It's come 32 years to search for this bike. I started riding back in winter of 1988. So here's my first bike. It was a used Honda Hurricane. I saw that bodywork and just loved it. It was an 87. This was my UCSD graduation. I actually drove to it in my gown. So that was the first one. Randomly, I ended up getting an 88 also, which was just a reverse color scheme, had an aftermarket pipe. So I like the 600s, I like the Hondas. Then I got a 700 Interceptor. That was the tallest bike I ever had. She was pretty fast.
Yeah.
Then finally in the 90s, I got my first brand new bike. It was another Honda CBR 600 F2. And then after that, I took a long break from motorcycling. I actually had an infant son. My wife was in an accident with him. She passed away. And I just thought, I can't ride bikes right now. So I took a long break from motorcycling cycles. And I always said, if I ever get back on a bike, I'm looking for a Ducati 900 Super Sport, half fairing. Love that yellow. Stood out from all the reds. And I got a good 10 years out of it. Love the Terminioni pipes. That's the one thing I miss most about that bike, is that deep twin sound. And I saw this. I was walking into GP one day, and there was one up on display up on the left, and I was walking in, and I just went, oh,
You and I both.
what is that with the three pipes there?
Yep.
I just fell in love.
How many miles have you put on her?
Just over 5,000. Not a lot, really. It's just my every other weekend.
It's your toy.
Exactly. It's not a commuter.
It's your toy.
Although once in a while I'll take it to work, because I work with middle school students. They love to look out the classroom and see the bike down in the parking lot.
So the viewers that are watching right now, they're probably looking at something like this. Why would they buy this over something else, like a Ducati?
I always love the uniqueness. You know, I love the Ducatis in the first place because they kind of stood out from all the Japanese bikes. And I wanted the yellow one because it stood out from all the red Ducatis. I love the styling. I love the retro look with the spoke wheels.
Oh, the spoke wheels are just candy.
That was one of the reasons why I went with the RR as opposed to the mag wheels. The spoke wheels come with the RR version.
Yeah, it's just candy.
Yeah, I love it. I put these little tire pressure gauges caps on, so I get a little digital readout of front and rear tire pressure.
Well, okay, so there's only one thing left to do, isn't there? We're gonna take this baby on a little test ride, and I'm gonna report back to you guys, let you know what I think of the bike, how it makes me feel, how comfortable it is, let you know what the power is like, let you know what the handling is like. So, do I have your permission?
Let's go.
All right, man. Oh man, the shifter is so smooth. All right, so in my hands is a dragster, a motorcycle that I've been looking forward to riding for a long time. I've seen these at GP Motorcycles here in San Diego, and there's always been a sign on it to not touch it. And I haven't touched it until today. So it's a pretty good treat for me to ride this bike for the first time. Oh man, look at it. She's a beaut. What a pretty bike. thanks once again to Guy for letting me take out his baby. I really appreciate it, Guy. I'll treat her very well. On the way I was riding it over here, and I got all these feelings of riding and getting behind another Italian motorcycle. You get behind this thing, you know that you're behind something really special. It gives you a very, very special feeling, and the MV Agusta brand is something that I'm totally new to. I have never experienced the MV Agusta brand before, so this is like for me, for the channel, it's an inauguration. And once again, thanks to Guy for allowing this to happen. So with that being said, in front of me here is the 2017 MV Agusta 800RR. The dry weight on this motorcycle is 370 pounds. It is featherweight. It's a very compact motorcycle, as you can tell. The wheelbase is very compact, and as I was riding it down here from Guy's house to here, it felt very compact, it felt very nimble, it felt very light. Getting on top of the bike and moving it over, I didn't feel like the bike had a lot of weight to it, considerably less amount of weight than my F900R. This thing is like a featherweight compared to that. It almost felt like my KTM RC Cup bike, which weighs almost next to nothing as well. This fuel tank here is a 16.6 liter fuel tank, which translates to 4.3 gallons. When you're sitting on top of this bike, you basically sit on it. I mean, there's really no room to go backwards or frontwards. It's kind of like a cup. You sit in it, and the seat basically cups you in. So if you're a rather large person, you might have a little difficulty moving around on this bike, but for someone like myself and for someone like Guy, we're short-statured, and for us, this bike is absolutely perfect. Is this going to be another bike that I add to the stable in the future? Quite possibly, because I feel right at home. So the engine on this thing is a 798cc inline 3 4-stroke, and the sound is a cross between an Italian muscle bike sound, and then mixed in there you got this Japanese motorcycle sound as well, and the combination is just beautiful, man. It sounds absolutely perfect in my opinion. The engine produces 140 horsepower with 63 foot-pounds of torque at 11,100 RPM. It's a sport bike without the fairings, and this is considered one of those super naked class bikes. And it goes 152 miles per hour as its top speed. It's got a 6-speed wet clutch transmission. And as far as the suspension is concerned, it's got a front Marzocchi upside down telescopic hydraulic fork in the front, which is fully adjustable, and then in the rear you have a progressive sax single shock absorber. So the last couple of things I want to touch up on is that it has a 4-piston brake on both sides in the front, and it's got a single piston brake in the rear. And as you can tell, in the rear it's got a 17-inch rim, but it's got a 200 tire in the back, which is massive. And then in the front it's got a 120 size tire. So that about wraps it up for the specs of the bike. I think the next thing to do is to take this baby on a spin and see what she's like.
6.5 hours later.
Alright, just got to my starting location. I am going to be taking 67 on some nice twisty roads. Sitting on this bike, this seat basically cups you. You're stuck in one position, there's no back, there's no forward. I kind of like that actually. Alright, California 67 North. This should be a nice twisty road. Turns in very nicely. Oh my god, what a fun bike. It feels really good, it feels really planted. Suspension is nice and smooth. Sounds freaking amazing, man. The bike feels absolutely incredible. It's so planted. Big beautiful dash in front of me, great reading, tells me the RPM levels. This baby goes all the way up to 15,000 RPM from the looks of it here, but I'm sure it's capped out a little bit less than that. Maybe we'll explore it today. Let's find out. This thing has nice quick up and down shifting. The shifting is super, super smooth. I wish my F900R was this smooth. It's comparable to the smoothness of my Ducati. You got to give it to the Italians. Now, what separates this bike from the Ducati is that the Ducati is made by Italians, but manufactured by the Germans. What I like about this bike specifically is that it is made by the Italians and manufactured by the Italians. This is as raw as it's going to get. Some of the perfect roads to ride on. Unfortunately, we got some traffic over here. Let's see if we can bypass all this. So since we're in traffic, let's talk about the low handling speed of this bike. So I'm in 4th gear right now, and she's purring along 5th gear. Actually, I'm in 6th gear, purring along anywhere between 3,000 and 4,000 RPM. She doesn't mind it at all. If this was a Ducati, it would be choking up right now saying, put me down lower in the gears and give me higher RPM. So this is definitely a bike that you can live with on a day-to-day basis if you wanted to use it as a daily driver, as a daily rider. Not only is it comfortable as hell, but it's quick as heck. Look at these beautiful roads. If only these cars got out of the way. Guy was telling me that he adjusted the suspension on this bike, so now around the turns this thing is just grabbing up the road really nicely. I heard about this bike that because of the 200 size rear tire and the short travel of the bike itself, as far as the wheelbase is concerned. Now I'm doing 58 miles an hour in 4th gear, and it seems to be hugging the turns really, really well. From a scale of 1 to 10, I would give the ride, as far as comfort, I would give it like an 8, because on a bike like this, it's made more for handling than it is for comfort. The dash on the motorcycle is giving me options for what gear I'm currently in, the RPM, a very nice big readout of the miles per hour. It's letting me know right now that I need fuel. That's why I'm going to a fuel stop at the moment. Currently it's at ABS number 1, traction control number 5. All that stuff, the engine mapping, can be customized, but at the moment I have it at the sports setting. Other than that, tells me how hot the engine gets, which is not feeling hot right now. The engine feels pretty cool. We're not really going that fast or anything like that, but still, if you wanted to know if this bike gets hot, I don't think so. Compared to a Panigale or a Ducati, it doesn't really get that hot. As you know, the Ducatis get pretty hot. If you haven't seen my V2 and V4 heat videos, be sure to check those out.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Alright, had to fill this baby up with some gas. Now, back on the road. Let's see if we can take this on some twisties and have some fun. Woo! Oh, the sound of this bike. I got a sweet, let me tell you something. I have a weak spot for anything that sounds absolutely delicious. And the sound of this bike, hands down, is some of the best I've ever heard on a motorcycle. I said it before and I'll say it again. It's a marriage between Italian and Japanese, a symphony, an orchestra, an orgy of musical sound to my ears. The higher the RPM range, the more the giggle factor. And the downshifts, when you give it downshifts, this baby, rev matches, and oh my goodness, blipping down a couple of gears and slowing this baby down, you hear little gurgles in the back. Oh, listen to that. And then you have this little whine. It almost sounds like a supercharger whine. It's very confidence inspiring. I feel like I can thrash it around and not feel like I'm going to lose control. Maybe it's down to the low weight center of gravity of this bike and the big fat 120 in the front and 200 in the back. I don't know what it is, but it might be the fact that it's an Italian motorcycle and I have an affinity with them. It could possibly be that. Oh yes! By the way, in case you want to fine-tune your bike even more, I just passed Dax's house on the right. Check out my suspension video with Dax. Dax lives right there. I just passed his house. What's up, Dax, if you're watching this? Slaloming back and forth with this bike. Very, very confidence inspiring. Turns in very well, turns in very easily. And I haven't even brought it up to 11,000 RPM yet, where it really shines. But man, it's taking these twists and this road, and it's chewing it right up. It keeps wanting to go faster and faster and faster. It's begging to be ridden very hard. Listen to those downshifts. Second gear right now, and I'm doing 48 miles per hour at 7,000 RPM, and it honestly feels like I'm in 10, 11,000 RPM. There's this engine vibration that's coming out right now. I can feel it on the steering wheel, I can hear it, I can feel it on the handlebars. It's not a numb feeling that you would get on typical sport bikes. Like I rode the Street Fighter, which is also another naked bike, and it's kind of like a numb feeling. You don't feel it, but on my seat right now, on my handlebars, on the clutch, as well as the brake, I feel a vibration. And some might like it, some may not, but I absolutely love it, because it's making me feel like the sensation of speed is greater than it is. Oh yes. Oh yes. So confidence inspiring. So agile. Some more! Oh, goodness gracious. This is intoxicating. Level 10 intoxication. Oh, I'm addicted. I'm addicted. I want more. You better not take this away from me, guy. You better not. I'm not giving it back. That's it. I'm going home. I'm not giving it back. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. Oh, yes. Oh, what a thrill. What a thrill. The thing about Italian motorcycles is that they're so freaking thrilling, man. No other motorcycle gives you that thrill. No other motorcycle gives you that feeling. No other motorcycle. I've ridden a lot of motorcycles. Nothing does it for me except for Italian motorcycles. And what does it for me with this one? Number one, it's a naked motorcycle. Oh, and number two, I feel all the vibrations. I feel the torque, I feel the horsepower, I feel the wind, I feel all that stuff. It's a visceral feeling. It's a sensation that you feel everywhere. You feel it in your gut, you feel it on your spine, you feel the tingling on your fingers, on your hand. It's magical. I love it. And it's got passing power for days. Oh, baby. Oh my God. Oh. The sound of this motorcycle, oh, it's to die for. So far I've only used the front brakes, I haven't used the back brakes yet, but they worked exceptionally well. Oh man, it pulls. It pulls so hard. The quick up and down shifter on this motorcycle is just butter, man. It is so smooth. Silk. Silk is how I would describe it. Turn in is absolutely exceptional on this bike. It is so confidence inspiring. It almost makes you want to take it to a racetrack. Don't tell Guy that I'm doing it and just do it without him knowing. I'm just kidding, Guy. I would never do that, but you know what I mean. This is an exceptional bike to take on the track, thrash around, have loads of fun in. But at the same time, you can take it on back roads like I am now, and you can have loads of fun with this thing. Since this is a naked bike, wind is not an issue. I have no idea how MV Agusta has made this bike absolutely windproof. It almost feels like this thing has a big windshield, and it doesn't. There is no windshield on this bike, but I don't feel the wind at all. Phenomenal job on that. You can definitely take this thing on long cruises and not get tired from all the wind noise that deafens you over time. As an example, my F900R, you'll get deaf riding that bike for a very long time, but not something like this. You can ride this thing for long periods of time and not worry. There's absolutely no wind noise at all. Well, there is. I mean, obviously there is, but comparing it to other bikes, you don't get that much at all. As you may know, I rode the Street Fighter, which is a comparable bike to this, but that you can feel the wind a lot more than you can on this. So they did a fantastic job with noise reduction and wind. What a fantastic bike. This is one of those raw bikes that will be remembered in history because it is just such a raw bike. It feels so visceral. You feel totally connected to it. It almost feels like you are one with this bike. That the handling of it is very fluid. It's almost like being Bruce Lee and throwing a punch. You know, you don't know that he's going to throw a punch, but all of a sudden you get knocked out and you get thrown to the ground. That's exactly how I felt when I was riding this bike. It just does everything for you. You have no idea how it does the turns. You have no idea how compliant it is on the road, but it gets you there. And man, it feels so confidence inspiring. The tires, the brakes, everything feels very planted. Everything feels very good. The styling of this bike is just a knockout. I love this huge tank. The fuel tank is absolutely beautiful. It's got the Dragster 800RR written on it. I love the spoke wheels. It's just such a cool looking bike. By the way, just so you know, these spoke wheels are an aftermarket wheel that MV Agusta has bought and put on this bike. They didn't make these wheels themselves, but I love the fact that they are spoked. I love the fact that the whole bike has just got like a modern feel to it, and then they put these retro style spoke wheels on it, which gives it a good combination in the end. I love the fact that it has three exhaust pipes sticking out from the side over here. It gives it a rather sinister, evil-like look to it. You look at this bike from a distance and you can tell it just means absolute business, like, don't get close to me, I'm just gonna fuck you up. Other than that, it's a really comfortable bike to ride. I'm a short-statured person, so for people that are short-statured, this bike sits right at home for you because it is super comfortable. If you're a rather large person sitting on this seat here, gives you absolutely nowhere to go. So you're sitting here, you're not moving to the back or moving to the front. It cups you right in there. Once you're in there, you're in there. You're not going anywhere. It's got a pillion seat back here, but I can't imagine anybody sitting back there because this is rather small. Let me see about things that I don't like about this bike, because there has to be something that I don't like about this bike. Oh man. Okay, I found something. But this is a niggle that is not even considered or considered to be a niggle worth complaining about. But all modern bikes these days have a color LCD, and this thing still has a black and white TFT display. That could be changed, but to be honest with you, I couldn't care less about it. It's perfect the way it is. It's got the sport function. It's got all these other functions that I haven't tried. I've been just having a blast on this bike. Going up and down these beautiful hills and these beautiful twisty roads is suitable for that. I think this kind of bike is suitable for the kind of roads that we went on. And this is where it lives. This is where its home is. This natural territory is. If you're in store to buy a Dragster 800, make sure you get the RR version. This is the up-spec, top of the line beast that is an absolute pleasure to ride. Plenty of torque, plenty of horsepower, absolutely comfortable, not a lot of wind drag as you would get with typical naked bikes. Highly recommend this bike to you. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. And let me know what you think of this bike. I'd love to get your opinions on what you think of this bike.
2 hours later.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I had the absolute best time with this motorcycle. But now I'm headed back to Guy's place to hand him back his beautiful bike. And it's kind of sad, to be honest with you. I don't want to let go of this bike. What an absolute joy. It's been such a phenomenal experience riding this bike.
Remember I said I had something for you?
Yeah?
So I do 3D printing.
Oh!
And I made you these little zipper pulls. If you want, you can put on your jacket or your pocket.
That is so cool. Look at this, guys.
'Cause you know when you got gloves on and you're trying to find that little metal zipper?
Yeah. Holy cow. Thanks, Guy. I appreciate it.
No
Guys,
problem.
check this out. This is completely awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
3?
Use it for your pockets.
Thank you.
Or a bag or whatever you want.
Guys, look at that. Look how nice Guy is.
Fun.
Thank you so much once again. He not only did he let me ride his precious MV Agusta Dragster 800 RR, but he's also given me a gift.
Homemade.